I'm not cool enough to get invited to early screenings for movies. So that's why I cheat and I react to other people's early reviews. Because I am going to cover Fantastic Four early, whether they like it or not. But yeah, I've not screened any of these reviews. So I did start watching Jeremy Johns' review, but then I realized that I wasn't recording the audio from the video. So, yeah. It's fine. He hasn't even started giving his opinion yet. It's fine. Whatever. Let's keep going.
In another universe, Reed Richards, Sue Storm, Johnny Storm, and Ben Grimm, they've already been the Fantastic Four for 4 years now. Now Galactus is coming for Earth. They gotta figure a way out of this mess, save the Earth, save their family. Out the gate, I gotta say, this movie does do a good job at these heroes have been heroes for a little while thing, but does do a sizzle reel via talk show to catch the audience up on it. Also, the visual aesthetic of the world. I mean, I'm not saying anything I didn't say from my trailer video I did when the trailer dropped, but that mid-century futuristic aesthetic, I just find it appealing. It's like some alternate art. If someone drew what will the world look like in 2025 back in the 50s or 60s, it's this, which works in a superhero world where you just feel like you've seen it all before. There's no technology. It's really gonna blow your hair back. It has a coat of paint.
I like that both about Superman as well as what I've seen from the trailers in Fantastic Four, where they don't feel really like other comic book movies. So I appreciate that, Marvel as well as DC. Okay, I don't have a bias.
It felt fresh, new, exciting. It was cool. It worked. Also, the cast I thought was great. Pedro Pascal's fame will be studied one day. He is his own subgenre, complete with fatigue. Pedro Pascal fatigue, they call it. Superhero movie fatigue has that. Pedro has that.
Can I talk about Pedro Pascal for a second? Like, Pedro Pascal is not like Chris Pratt, okay? I have never seen Pedro Pascal phone in a performance. Like, sure, he's in a lot of stuff, but he's always amazing in like all of his roles. He's always giving it his all, you know? There isn't an example of Pedro Pascal playing Mario and sounding bored sometimes, sounding like he's trying sometimes he sounds like a New Yorker, other times he just sounds like Chris Pratt. Like, that doesn't exist for Pedro Pascal, so I don't understand the Pedro Pascal fatigue. You're all wrong. And cringe. And gay.
He's one guy. It's kind of funny we're in this age of an actor's brand is able to keep on screen whether or not it looks like the character. Pedro Pascal's mustache is kind of his brand. Would he look more like Reed Richards if he shaved his mustache? Yes. Would he look more like Joel from The Last of Us if he could grow a beard? Yes. Was he a solid Reed Richards in this movie? Yes. The guy can act his ass off and he brings it. I don't know if he's a one-trick pony and it just works. Kind of like my wardrobe. A smart guy with the weight of the world on his shoulders.
He's not, though. Like, he's he's different in all of his roles. Like, fucking Oberyn from Game of Thrones is not like the Mandalorian, who, I guess the Mandalorian and Joel are kind of similar, but not really. And based on what I've seen from Reed Richards in this movie, it's also a completely separate performance. His performance in The Materialists is also completely different. Like, this idea that Pedro Pascal is in too many things, blah, 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 blah. Oh my gosh, I'm getting Pedro Pascal fatigue. Again, if it gets to the point where, like, Pedro Pascal is in, like, the Garfield movie, like Chris Pratt, then I'll start understanding. But I don't agree. I don't agree. You're all wrong. Pedro Pascal rules.
Feels like it's his responsibility to solve this problem because he's the only one who can. He sells it and you buy it. Also, his chemistry with Vanessa Kirby, I thought they were great as a couple. They worked well as a team, as a husband and wife duo, trying to figure a way out of this mess that is Galactus' demands. It was kind of funny.
Bro, I don't know if Vanessa Kirby has a husband, because I don't think Pedro Pascal has a wife, but if Vanessa Kirby has a husband, based on some of the stuff that I've seen in the promotional tours, bro, I don't know how actors do it. That's all I'm going to say.
This is a real catching you up to speed. Reed Richards was like, well, I went to space with the most brilliant minds on the planet, which happened to be my wife, my brother-in-law, and my best friend. Hollywood thrives on nepotism. I suppose Marvel's first family should too. I liked how Ben Grimm was. You're like, Ben and Johnny. I'll get to Johnny a little later. He's going to kind of segue into a bit of a tangent. But Ben Grimm was great as the big rock monster with the heart of gold.
Oh, is he going to talk about how Johnny isn't comic accurate or whatever? That's what I suspect.
I do feel the mid-2000s Fantastic Four did more with him. This movie's like, who cares about the problems of man? The difference between man and rock man is rocks. Granted, he has been the thing for 4 years, so there's that. Though he has a couple of cool moments where he's showing off for the kids in the neighborhood and whatnot. He's being that kind of cool guy. That's just kind of who he is. He's that guy, then he smashes buildings, but I wanted to see more of what's in here. But granted, that is a byproduct, a downside of coming into these superhero stories, skipping past the origin part and having it all already established. Visual effects, I thought the visual effects in the movie were much better than what we saw in the trailer. One sequence in particular, I was like, this is actually...
Really? I thought the visual effects in the trailer, aside from the first one, I actually thought they looked pretty great. Because in the first one, I thought that if I remember, what were my problems exactly? I think it was that the thing's mouth wasn't like moving too much. But as far as like the textures of the rock and all that, and just in general the visual effects of the movie, I thought they've always looked really good in the trailers.
Pretty extraordinary. Might have been the IMAX. I don't want to be that guy. Like, be sure to watch it on IMAX. I don't give a shit how you watch it, if you watch it at all. How you spend the money is your choice. That's your money. To be fair,
I will watch it on whatever screening is the most convenient time for me, which I think on this Thursday is going to be 9 p.m., which I don't think. By the way, I don't even live in an area where we have IMAX, so it's It's like GTX. It's like the Georgia movie theater company, because we have kind of a monopoly in Georgia where it's like the GTC movies. They have a thing called GTX. I don't know if it's IMAX. I actually have no fucking idea. But whatever that premium theater is, I don't give a shit, okay? I just go whatever the most convenient time for me is, because it doesn't matter.
Look really impressive on IMAX. That might be the thing that puts it over the edge. The reason I was like, wow, this looks pretty spectacular. So there's that. Even the Silver Surfer in the trailer, I saw the memes. People were like, how do we go backwards with CGI? I feel like the other Silver Surfer looked better than the new Silver Surfer, just in terms of silver. And there was an argument to be made, but seeing it on screen, I was like, this does look really good. Better than the trailer, though. CGI has been tweaked, because in the trailer, when Johnny Storm is carrying Ben Grimm, and he's like, what time is it, Ben? He's actually all in flames in the movie, whereas the trailer, he's not. Galactus is actually pretty frightening.
Oh, I see what he means by that.
Galactus is difficult to do. Even in the trial, man, you commenters, comment sections crack me up. Yeah, Superman included. But I'm just saying, people talking about Galactus jaywalking in New York. I don't know, man. It was funny to me. But I was like, how are they going to do this guy? Time was in comic book movies, some of these cosmic beings, they didn't know how to do. So they were like, we'll just make them all clouds, I guess. But we're at this comic book movie age now.
That is such a funny meme that old comic book movies used to do. They would just make them clouds. Why? It's so weird.
I was like, we've seen some shit. You could do Galactus, it won't even be that weird. But I didn't expect Galactus to be this scary. That first time you see Galactus, the way his eyes are glowing, looking down on him, you have the voice. You got that Ralph Ineson voice. Pronunciation check on his name. Ralph Ineson, as far as I can tell, is how you pronounce this. It should be pronounced correctly, because he's so amazing as Galactus. I mean, if you had an actor who didn't sell Galactus, this ridiculous force of nature that...
Yeah, that guy's awesome. He's one of the guys from Game of Thrones. Like, I know his face, I could see him, but I don't remember who he played in Game of Thrones. But yeah, he has one of the coolest voices in Hollywood.
Gobbles planets. It wouldn't work. With him, you're like, yep, that's who he is. That's what he's here for. That's why we gotta stop him. And much to my shock, the Shia LaBeouf Silver Surfer actually worked in the movie. Not just works, there is this legit emotional moment. I wish they would have gone deeper into it. Can't talk about it too much right here. If I do a spoiler video, I'll unpack it there. I'll try not to make that one as nitpicky as the last one. I mean, to be fair, if you had Norrin Rad, you could still have the same emotional beats there. So there's that. Swapping to Shia LaBeouf Silver Surfer, though, I know she was in a comic book for that long. We gotta be honest, though, it is still a studio's way of being like, good call, this will track well on social media among people who...
I mean, like, again, this is one of those things, right, where it's like, then this is always my take on this kind of thing. If it is the case that, Kevin Feige, kicked the doors down on in the writer's room, and he was like, we got a call from fucking BlackRock or whatever, and they said that in order to give us some DEI money, you have to make it a woman. You have to make it a woman. Make it the female Silver Surfer. Blah 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 blah. If that's the case, if that's what happened, then sure, I think that's cringe and that's bad. I don't really like that. But I don't know that that's the case. Maybe the writers just wanted to use her. That is possible. And I'm not going to sit here and act like I know exactly what happened. So I just don't spend my time worrying about that kind of thing. The only thing that I'm going to worry about is the movie good? If the movie's good, then that's all I'm really going to concern myself with. So I don't know. I feel like this whole conspiracy-minded thing is just kind of pointless when we don't know. We don't know if, the Little Mermaid was, they cast Halle Bailey or whatever for the sake of scoring DEI points so that they could, get whatever money from whatever shady influences you guys think is in charge of the world. Like, maybe that happened. Or maybe it's as the director says, he just saw like a video of her singing and he was like, oh, can we get her as Ariel? Okay, cool. And then that's how that happened. It's possible that it's that innocent. Unless there's any like direct evidence to the contrary, I'm not just going to assume the worst. Especially if in this case, the movie is just good. Then who gives a shit?
We'll never actually pay to watch the movie anyway. I do wish the movie was a little longer because it's like unpacking a thing and you're like, I'm kind of done with this. Oh, okay, I guess we're done with that. Just feels kind of half unpacked. But all in all, I really do feel this movie is the MCU movie the MCU needs. And that's an MCU movie that stands on its own, truly stands on its own. I've heard these MCU movies out there that stand on their own, but they don't really, not fully. They might stand 90%, but if you had someone who had never seen an MCU movie watch the movie and another one who's all down with the MCU movies and shows, that person who's never seen any MCU movies or shows will be a little more lost than the other person.
I mean, like, that's always like an interesting conversation because it's like, there are people out there that exist that only watch the Avengers movies if you just look at the box office. So clearly there are a lot of people out there that sort of pick and choose what they're going to watch. And it's like, I don't know, like that's always been the case. That if you don't watch everything, you're going to miss out on certain things. So I've never been of the opinion that the problem with modern MCU is that, like, oh no, there are too many movies and TV shows and people can't keep up. It's like, it's always been the case that there are a significant amount of people that don't keep up and just pick and choose what they want to watch. My overall problem has just been the fact that a lot of it just isn't good. And so if you're making bad movies, over time, that's going to keep people away from going and watching future movies. I don't think that the whole thing of things not standing alone, I actually just don't think that that's been that much of a problem. But anyways.
Whereas this movie, you can have both those people watch this movie and they will get the same amount out of it. It truly is a movie that stands on its own, exists in a bubble. I think the MCU needs that because, let's face it, watching...
That's also interesting because, I mean, I'll be honest, the main thing that's kept me from being too excited about this movie is the fact that I just know, or at least I suspect, that this movie is going to end with the Fantastic Four like falling into a stupid multiverse portal and appearing in the Earth 616 MCU timeline or whatever to set up Avengers Doomsday. So it's like, I mean, he's saying that it just stands on its own, so maybe I'll be wrong in how they do it, but I guess we'll see.
Some of these recent MCU...
You know what would be awesome is if this specific Fantastic Four like franchise does explicitly stand on its own, and then the Fantastic Four that we see in Avengers Doomsday and that it sort of exists in the MCU is like a variant. So this franchise explicitly only stands on its own. If they did something like that, that would actually be pretty badass. But I don't think they will.
movies and shows, it's become a chore. It's become homework. No one wants to do it. I would make a killing if I made videos on all the MCU stuff out there, but I don't. Why? Because it'd be a drag. I'd rather enjoy myself. I would rather just enjoy life. It's all about the little things, really, like enjoying life, enjoying your free time. And I really like Johnny Storm too. Johnny Storm felt more like Johnny Storm than you've been told he's supposed to, which I find weird. It was a family movie with heart in which the family were superheroes who were aiming to misbehave and defy a galactic harbinger of planetary death. And for me,
so wait, is he saying that? Because I know that some of the controversy with the movie as well has been that that Johnny Storm wasn't gonna be like an asshole, you know, chauvinist fuckboy or something like that. Like, I think that's how he's supposed to be, generally speaking, in the comics. I don't read Fantastic Four comics, so I've never cared about whatever changes they wanted to make. And that I guess in this movie he was going to be less leaning into that sort of side of him. I guess is Jeremy here saying that they do lean into that side? I don't know. He was vague.
This one's key. The moments of heart and emotion, we're allowed to sit in that heart and emotion and not be compromised by jokes and comedy. But all in all, I really enjoy.
All right, that's a good thing.
Boy, Fantastic Four First Steps, worth watching and worth buying on Blu-ray. All right, so the weirdest thing about this whole
Oh wow, that's like his second to best rating, right? Below awesometacular or whatever. Okay, Marvel, you won over Jeremy.
Fantastic Four thing is the conversation leading up to the release, the conversation about the characters. I get it, directors, writers, producers, studios, actors, whoever, their job is to get people talking about the movie, but I've noticed more and more, definitely seen with this new Fantastic Four First Steps movie, the subtext is by any means necessary. Case in point, yeah, Joseph Quinn was talking about Johnny Storm. He was talking about, oh, before he was this womanizing guy, but is that sex
Oh yeah, that's what I heard that conversation.
anymore? I don't think so. But he is in the movie still. They address it. It comes across like that's one of the main reasons they made Silver Surfer Shia LaBeouf. So Johnny Storm would be like, oh, hey, silver frosting on that cake. Awesome, flame on. Not the only motivation. It's in there. So why say he's not like that when he actually is? He doesn't have the opportunity to be. He's just not in the position to actually be like that because he's dealing with bigger things with his family. He's dealing with this Galactus thing. Also saw that Sue Storm's going to be the leader of the Fantastic Four in this movie. No, she's not. It's Reed Richards. He's the one doing the press conferences. He's the one on the chalkboard writing the equations, trying to figure a way out of this problem. Sue Storm is very passionate.
Well, did anybody from Marvel ever say that, or was that just a report? That's also one of those things, right? Like you really shouldn't get too wrapped up in like reports and rumors and blah 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 blah. Like, oh, this guy from fucking comicbookmovie.fart said this thing. Because at the end of the day, you just watch the movie and make up your own mind. Like that's really all you can do at the end of the day.
She's invested, she's involved, and it completely makes sense as to why. My point is I've come to loathe when writers, directors, actors, producers try to fill in the context for the audience rather than just let the audience watch the movie and see what they see. And the rest of this dishonest shit just feels like rape.
That's fair. Yeah, like I can kind of agree with that. Like I never watch, like after The Last of Us or whatever, when there's the whole like, all right, let's have the director and the writers and the actors talk about what their intentions were in the show, and it's like, stop. Let me interpret it. At least let me interpret the season as I'm watching it, right? Don't tell me what everything is supposed to mean right off the bat. So I do agree with that, generally speaking.
Rage bait. Stop trying to rage bait YouTubers. And YouTubers, stop taking the bait. Anyhow, that's my tangent. Moving on. Movie was good, though. Not going to say fantastic. I'm not above a dad joke or a pun. It's going to be in a lot of YouTube videos, though. I can't do it. And there are 2 post-credit scenes. I did stay for both of them because I figured I probably should. The second one, the end credit scene, it's whatever. It's fun. It's funny. The first one, though, the mid-credit scene, Yeah, you should stay for that one. All right, so Fantastic Four First Steps. Have you seen it? What did you think about it? Or what's a great Fantastic Four comic book? Like if you had to pitch, hey, this is the Fantastic Four story, what would it be? What's the comic book? What's the graphic novel? What's the story? What's the arc? Whatever.
All right, fair enough. So I remember Jeremy didn't like Superman. That was the last Jeremy Johns video that I watched. And I do disagree with him on that. I did like Superman personally, but interesting that Fantastic Four won him over, because I know he. This isn't a slight on him. He just seems kind of jaded these days. I don't know, like every time I'm watching a Jeremy Johns video, I mean, I don't watch him super consistently anymore, but it always seems like he just doesn't want to be there. I don't know. He seems like fucking Rich Evans from Red Letter Media, where he's just like, this is my job, to watch movies and talk about them. And I get it. Like at a certain point, you can only, even if your job is a dream job, it's like you can only do it so many times before you start getting sick of it. But that's just something that I've noticed. He seems more animated in this, which is just interesting. But all right, let's move on to the next one. All right, so this is coming from Christian Harloff. Let's go.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the non-spoiler review of The Fantastic Four. This is the newest in the MCU, Marvel Cinematic
All right, we're back. Hit play.
Universe. This one is directed by Matt Shakman. Contrary to belief, I know a lot of you thought Adam Shankman directed this. He did not. It was Matt Shakman. I don't know how you could have missed it, but he did WandaVision. He did a good job in WandaVision. And I don't know why you guys would think that it was anyone but Matt Shakman, not Rock of Ages Adam Shankman. So that's cleared up now. Now you know. And that's fine. People make mistakes. You're okay. Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn.
To be honest, I've never made that mistake in my life.
Moss Baccarat, Juliet Garner, and Ralph Ineson as Galactus. A lot of other people show up in this, whether it's Natasha Lyonne, Paul Walter Hauser. The list goes on and on. So
yeah, I forgot. Well, Natasha Lyonne is in this. She's like supposed to be playing somebody important or something. I'm probably not going to recognize her anyways.
Get me out of the theater reaction. So if you are here, you haven't seen that yet, I'll give you my overall thoughts, which was that I was surprised with how much I liked this movie. I have never really been a massive Fantastic Four fan. I didn't really like the trailers too much, and I was not that excited for it. The last trailer I thought was interesting. Got me a little bit more interested in it. So I was okay, let's see. And essentially the story is that we don't think this is not the timeline of the MCU that a lot of you are familiar with, from where Tony Stark and everybody led up to Earth 616, I think it's called. If I get it wrong, you can yell at me in the comments, it's fine. But this is separate. And I think it's very smart. They're also established in this universe.
That's true. I always call it Earth 616, but I think that might be wrong. But I also do not care.
Like, it's very similar to what Superman did. They throw you into it and say, look, here's a little brief thing. They've been around for about 4 years. They've had their powers for about 4 years. This is what happened. They show little things. This is where we are. Everybody loves the Fantastic Four. They've saved us so many different times. They set up kind of that comic book world, and then a new threat comes in. And I like that they did that because it also sets it apart and lets people know who have never seen a Marvel movie. It feels like the beginning of these are the new characters that we're going to start following. They're going to lead into another bigger event, but these are the ones we want you to get invested in. And they do a very good job in doing that. The kind of retro, it's like the 60s, but in a different universe, that Jetson feel. And again, Matt Shakman does an excellent job directing this movie and putting together the team, making you care about the team itself, and setting the visuals in this movie are really fantastic. Oh, I didn't mean to say it, but I did. I'm sure a lot of people will be doing that. They're really stunning. And
yeah, that's another thing. Jeremy also mentioned that the visuals are just really good. So that's good.
And I think that you should definitely see it in IMAX if you haven't already. You've seen so many of these movies, 30 plus Marvel movies. You're like, well, what can you do to make it seem different? And they accomplish that, at least in my opinion. I think that as I was watching this whole thing and you see the interstellar, comparisons, I understand it. What's happening in space, and the things that they do in space, that's why I just keep saying seeing it in IMAX. It's just so grand. But what I liked about it also is that it didn't just rely on the movie being grand and being visuals. And I don't feel like, because I said to myself, okay, visuals, everyone's talking visuals. Is that all this thing has? It doesn't. I care about the dynamic between the four characters. Johnny Storm, people would be worried about, and I was a little worried about it too, that they were kind of going to make some changes to Johnny Storm to not offend people. And they don't really. Joseph Quinn does a great job as Johnny Storm. They could explore it more. So they make it clear that he likes women, he does these things, and he's doing it to impress women, even if it gets a kind of a...
Yeah, so I guess he is like a chauvinist or whatever. Fuck boy. So yeah, I guess there's two people mentioning that point. I guess he is a ladies' man. So if that's something that you cared about, I personally didn't, because again, I just don't care about the Fantastic Four, then good for you guys.
A crush on somebody, I'll say that inside of this movie, and they play on that. But we'll see more of him as it expands, because I thought, are they making him kind of one note? No, they give him more to do. There was an arc, and the same thing goes for Eben Moss Baccarat, who plays Ben, and they of course explore the thing and what he had to go. He's the one out of the four. Everybody else still gets to look like them, but he is still. You can see the sadness. He does a great job in the back and forth that both Eben Moss Baccarat and Joseph Quinn have.
Okay. Well, Jeremy was saying that they didn't explore the thing enough. Christian Harloff is saying that they did explore the thing. Who's right in this battle of movie reviewers? We're gonna have to wait and see for ourselves, aren't we?
Works a lot, but the Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Sue Storm, Reed Richards dynamic is really what it's all about, because as this is the first family of Marvel, you have to believe that they're this couple. From everything that I knew about Reed Richards, it seems like Pedro Pascal really nailed it, right? And he's so focused and he's so smart, he's so burdened by the knowledge of things, and he lets a lot of these things get in the way. And it's usually Sue who's like, come back and be a human being and be here for this, and the dynamic of what is happening with all of them, and then the threat that comes in, of course, which is Galactus. And I thought that Galactus, who's played by Ralph Ineson, is terrifying. I thought terrifying. That also could have.
That's a similar thing that Jeremy was saying, right? That Galactus is genuinely terrifying, which I guess is a good thing because, yeah, I mean, a giant man, big purple-headed man, that could come off as goofy if you don't do it right. So that's good.
Looked very silly. You've seen it in the trailer the way he comes in, and there is this just imposing thing of what Galactus's ultimate mission is, plays into the dilemma and choices that have to be made by the Fantastic Four, by Oliver. They are the protectors. They are the Avengers of this world, if you will, and they have to protect it in the dilemmas that they wind up getting themselves in, and even amongst each other. And I thought that what Julie Garner did as this Silver Surfer, we're never going to see a bunch of different Silver Surfers. For people who get up in arms about not seeing the original one, I would wait because it seems like there's going to be more. But I thought for what they set up and how they set this character up, even in that trailer that you see her.
Yeah, I'm just going to say, if you ever had a problem with a female Silver Surfer, homosexual.
And she tells everybody, hey, look, you guys are in trouble.
Unless you're a woman. Then you're a dirty heterosexual.
And then diving a little bit more into deep as far as like why she is doing what she's doing. So and the music, Michael Giacchino does just a fantastic job. I did it again. It's a phenomenal job of setting the tone of what they're going for. Even when they're in space, you can feel that interstellar type of feel when they're out there. There's a really great scene in, I believe it's Act 2. I loved Act 1, really liked Act 2. And that's where that cool scene that I really like came in. And then Act 3 just kind of soars for me. Okay. But I was the most invested. I was invested in Thunderbolts. They're different. And people can ask me, would you like better this or Thunderbolts? I need to see them both again. Because this is Thunderbolts was a different movie because it really dove deep into those characters and, you know, the mental health issue of it and went more into this kind of darker thing, which I dug. But this is more the world building here and making me interested again in newer characters. And by newer, I mean inside of the MCU, newer characters that we're going to invest in. And it's the first time in a bit, minus like the post-credit scenes in Thunderbolts, where I'm going, all right, I want to see where all this is going now. And now I'm invested. I got new players that I'm following, and I feel like there's a bit of a charge. And I didn't know if I was going to get that going into it. So I was pretty blown away by this one because I never took my eyes off it. My attention was locked in. I cared. There's some really great moments. Obviously, you see in the trailer, and even says as much in Vanessa Kirby, who is excellent as Sue Storm. She talked about the fact that Sue was pregnant, what she has to deal with, how, you know, obviously having her child with Reed, what the implications.
Yeah, I mean that's sort of one of those things that I've been saying with like Superman as well, where, you know, at this point where DC and Marvel are at is they're at rock bottom. And, you know, movies like Superman and Fantastic Four, like, obviously do these studios want them to make money? Yes. But I would argue that the more important thing that they need to be doing is just building back up the brand, right? Like, Superman is not going to be a massive hit. It seems like it's going to peter out at like $550, $600 million. But if you're DC, that's good enough, right? Because people liked Superman. Audiences liked Superman. And you did a good enough job of getting people invested in DC again. Fantastic Four, I don't expect it to make a ton of money just because I think most people don't care about the Fantastic Four. The comic book movie genre is not where it once was. I don't know that it's going to make a bunch of money. But it's responses like this that I think is important, right? People are hopefully going to come out of this being more invested in the MCU.
Are for those of you who are Marvel fans, you know the deal with Franklin and everything that he is. But it is this is also why I mentioned earlier the setup of saying, hey, we're locked into this already because I think people are really going to respond to the first 20, 30 minutes of this movie. And that's really important. It's like, okay, can you lock me in? Can you make me care? And I think they do a really great job of this. Matt Shackman, who directs this film, if you didn't know that, he is to me really gets this world. He understands how to lock you in with visuals, but he also understands how to really get you with the characters because he needed to make this work. Now, a lot of people are saying that were the hardcore fans of Fantastic Four. I heard it in the audience last night when I was there. I heard it. I've read it. People talking about it and saying how much it really pulls from the '60s comics and Kirby's Red and all that stuff. So it captures that, and you can tell that this is the version that Marvel, when they didn't have the rights to this is what they always wanted to do. And it's the first time. This isn't saying much. But this is hands down the best Fantastic Four movie ever made. The question is, what are they going to do with these characters moving forward now that they are set up? Is they're set up? We'll go into spoiler. We'll go into spoiler later on a different review, obviously. But this to me, and stay for post-credit scenes. Stay for the post-credit scenes. There's two of them. One is impactful. The other one's fun. I'll tell you that. So go knowing that. But performances worked. I think I want to see a little bit more development in some of the characters moving forward. But I think there's a great setup there. Music was great. Act 1 really worked. Act 2 was good. Act 3 soared. So overall, I'm going pretty big. I'm going to go 4.5 out of 5 for Fantastic Four.
Wow. Interesting. So yeah. Oh wait, is there more to this? Yeah. So those are 2 positive reviews. Those are the only 2 I'm going to react to because time. But yeah, 2 out of 2 so far as from what I've seen. People really digging the movie.
And I think one of those reasons is because it shocked me so much. I wasn't expecting to love this movie. I was expecting maybe I'll dig it. Maybe I'll dig it. I loved it, and I thought that it just this was one. There's a few movies I've seen. I'm like, okay, this year going, okay, I could be okay just seeing this once or maybe seeing it on streaming again. I want to see this in the theater again. It was a great experience watching it in IMAX. Sound is great. So that's my thoughts. That's my non-spoiler for the Fantastic Four. Do you want to see it? Do you care? Put your thoughts in there. Let me know. We just crossed 201,000 subscribers on this channel. We're trying to build. If you're brand new here, hit that button. We do out of the theater reactions. We do movie reviews. We do movie reactions. We do.
Okay, what is the rest of this? Oh, it's like an ad. Okay. So yeah. Let me know what you think. Do those reviews get you more excited for Fantastic Four? Or should I say, Fantastic Four? Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.